back to my channel, to my knitting podcast. My name is Linda and I love chatting about what I'm making. So that's why I have this knitting podcast for you. So see this as your opportunity to sit down with your knitting, crocheting, whatever you would love to do, and take some time for yourself with maybe something nice to drink, and that's gives us the feeling of crafting together a little bit, and maybe my projects are something that you would like to make, and you get a little bit of information, inspiration, and that's why I love to watch knitting podcasts at least. So let's get into it. So today I am wearing my Kip Sweater. This is a finished object in my last podcast video. And in that video it was quite a warm day, so it wasn't really the time to wear it the entire video through. And after that, today I thought maybe let's give it some extra love, since it is a gorgeous, gorgeous sweater. It is, as I said, the Kip Sweater by Rebecca Clow, and I've knit mine up in Isseke Jensen yarn, and it is a drop shoulder, top down knitted sweater with all over slip stitches that create this lovely, lovely herringbone design. I haven't been wearing it a lot because it is with the slip stitches, and I've knit mine on a tighter gauge than actually was recommended. And that's why I think it makes for a really warm sweater. So I haven't been wearing it a lot, since here in the Netherlands we have been blessed with a lovely spring weather so far. We have a lot of nice days. Of course there is also rain, but a lot of the days are quite lovely, which is nice. So last month I have been working a lot in our garden. But that is not why you're here. You're obviously here for knitting. But yeah, that is why I haven't been wearing the sweater all that much. It's a bit too warm for bringing to work. I thought I'd wear it today. So have I said everything about it? If you want more details or my experience knitting it, it has been on the podcast for a very long time, since I had it on the needles for the entire time I'm making this podcast. So it has appeared quite a lot. So, and in my last episode I went over the entire sweater. So if you are interested in the pattern, I recommend watching that video for a little bit more detail. And today we are chatting about the finished objects of this month, which are two. Okay, first finished object is my triangular scarf that I've self-drafted. In the last podcast episode I was working on on this band here at the top that I've worked separately, and I was almost done, but I didn't get there in time for the video. But that was actually I was so fine with it, since blocking has transformed this piece quite a lot. Since it has on, of course, seed stitch or moss stitch in the middle. I always mess those up. And on the border we have some lace detailing and some cables. I've knit this from the corner point upwards. I have drawn out and designed how to make this point look neat and pretty, and I've worked up until I almost ran out of yarn, and I felt like, okay, now I have enough to work a band across the top here to finish it off real nice. I really wanted that detail as well, and so that was something that I've never done before. I picked up all the stitches at the top, and I had designed a way to cast on a point here and connect it as pretty as I could to the other side of, the other edge, to make it look as pretty as possible. And I worked back and forth on this band till I'm at this point, and this point I also had to figure out and design how to make that. So that was a really nice challenge. I really liked self-drafting and figuring it out and coming up with solutions, drawing charts for myself, and yeah, I'm really happy with the final result. In my other podcast I've said as well that I designed this piece specifically for motorcycle rides, to keep me warm around the neck. That's why I held a fingering weight yarn double, to give me a little bit more warmth. And also the fingering weight would have gone quite slow, of course, and that was something that I wasn't up to. So that was also part of the decision why I held it double, to actually make a DK. I could have bought a DK version of her yarn in this beautiful color, but I realized that too late. But oh well. This is my little scarf. For the motorcycles I'll wear it probably like this, with a triangle in front. And it's also quite pretty to wear it like this. I want it to look cute on the motorcycle. So that's what it looks like. Of course, because of the cables, we have one side that is pretty and the other side that it doesn't have a whole lot of details. But I don't mind that. I wanted the cable border, and I knew that this would be the end result of that choice. So yeah, I'm happy that it is finished, and the blocking made it so pretty. Just off the blocking mat I was like, wow, now I really feel like this was all the right decisions. I was in doubt for so many times, and that is also part of self-drafting, I think. You are not quite sure what finished object is going to look like, since you don't have pattern photos to reference and look back to when you were in doubt. It's all just in your mind and a vision, and you hope it is working out, and a lot of calculations, of course. If I were to make this again, I think I would actually change it up a little bit, and from work the bottom up, you obviously have increases to make it, to span it out. And I think I would change the rate of increases and make it so it is a skinnier and longer scarf. So that way I could wrap it around my neck like twice maybe, and it would be more, it wouldn't be as tall. I think that would be prettier actually. So you get a skinnier scarf, skinnier, longer scarf. Maybe I also need to get used to wearing these types of little scarves, because this is my very first one. So I don't have all the cute ways to style it. I'm not so good at styling. But yeah, I am really happy it's done, and the fingering weight, the hand-dyed held double, is just a really stunning way of colors. The camera doesn't do it justice. In real life it is showing more dimension, more warmth in the color, and yeah, I just love this piece. And this yarn is a hand-dyed sock yarn. No. This yarn is a hand-dyed fingering weight yarn from the Mindful Creators. This is a flowy fingering weight, 100% superwash merino, 100 grams skein, and the color is called Stay with the High Lord. There's something else that I finished, and that I haven't shown in the podcast before. This month I casted on a pair of socks. I should hold it in front of my face so it focuses more on the socks. I have made a pair of these lovely vanilla socks. I should hold it close up with all this beautiful, very earthy, foresty colors all throughout. And I just fell in love with this skein when I was at the Breidagen in January, I think. And that's where I picked up this. I've also kept the label for this one. This sock yarn is hand dyed by another Dutch hand dyer from Atelier, it's Wolbeest. This is her sock base, 2-ply. The colorway is called Green Leaves, which is obviously very, very soothing. 80% wool and 20% nylon, 100 grams skeins, and recommended to knit on in 2.25 to a 3mm needle. I've knit my socks on a 2.5mm, and I've started at the toe and worked my way up. I chose I will let it focus again. I chose a heel flap gusset design, and the gusset, I have reinforced the gusset with this reinforcement thread. I don't know if you can buy this separately, but these ones came in the Langs sock yarns. The Langs sock yarns are 50 gram skeins in these tubes, and in the center of those skeins are these little reinforcement thingies. And yeah, I've used that for the first time to reinforce the heel, and the heels also worked in slip stitches to make it even more sturdy. The socks are already getting a little bit grimy and felted, and it pills already, so that is a little sad. I have worn these 3 times in my new shoes. I can tell that the sock yarn isn't holding up all that well, and maybe that is because it is a 2-ply sock yarn, I don't know, but in my mind it makes sense that a 2-ply sock yarn isn't as sturdy as a 4-ply, so that may be why. But anyway, these are still really, really pretty. I think these are my prettiest socks to date. I finished this off with a lovely cabled rib detail. It is 2x2 rib and a 1x1 cable over the knit stitches. I think it's a faux cable since you don't need a knitting needle, a cable needle for it. And I thought that would suit this pretty yarn, and that's why I made that decision. Here I am writing down how I make them, since I want to figure out my perfect vanilla sock pattern. I think I have made these socks a little bit too long in the foot, since when I wear them the gusset sits a little bit too high on my heel actually. So with my new shoes they are above the edge where I want to protect the back of my heel against blisters. Everybody knows that with new Dr. Martens they are quite a hassle to, they take some time to walk in. But when they are just really, really awesome. So with these shoes I'm very, very motivated to knit more socks. So it wouldn't be weird if in the next video I also have socks on the needles, maybe. And with that I treated myself to a lovely new book. This is a very popular book, so maybe you have heard of it before. It is the Line magazine 52 Weeks of Socks, volume 1. There is a second version of it. And this is actually my very first knitting book that I've purchased. And I am just really looking forward to knitting from a book. And with, of course, the 52 weeks of socks, it is 52 sock patterns. And that's why I was drawn to this book, I guess, since you get a lot of different ideas. And that's what I wanted. A lot of different textures, different yarn weights, different color work, all kind of really tall socks, really short socks. I think with this I will be very, if I need inspiration for socks, because socks can tend to get a little repetitive. With this book I wouldn't have issues with that, I guess. I will show you a few of my favorites. These I would really like to be knitting up. These are also really pretty. Slip stitches, I guess. Who doesn't want this in their sock drawer? So pretty. And it's not only socks, it is also, here we have these lovely elf slippers. So pretty. So yeah, I hope to be knitting from this book soon. I have this much of the yarn left over, so quite some, and I really did make it a tall sock pattern, but still got quite some left over. So maybe this will end up in a lovely colorwork sock. I think that would be so great. Something else about socks that I have been doing this month is I realized that I was having a hole in one of my socks. And it was on this Fox Isle sock, which is a free pattern. It will be linked down below. And at the bottom of it, I got a hole in it. And I've patched it up. I've ordered this sock darning set, where you have these hooks with which you can weave your socks closed. You put this piece of wood on the inside and put this one on the outside on top around it. There is an elastic in here with which you can tack down the fabric at the right spot. It comes with a darning needle and a hook like this. I didn't use this one. I don't know what it's for actually. And with that you can strengthen these socks. I was sad that I got a hole in this sock, since I used sock yarn which I thought was really rustic and sturdy, but unfortunately I did burn through it. Right now it is all patched up. They are also a little dirty and grimy. I'm sorry. But yeah, these are my Fox Isle socks. Free pattern. I've knit these up in Katja sock yarn. And I'm really happy with those. So I'm glad to have this darning set to my addition in my collection. And this way I can mend my socks pretty easily. I found the instruction so confusing, since the language isn't, yeah. There is a video that I found about sock darning, so that was helpful since the instructions aren't at all clear. For example, the word darning, it says dam. Dam. So I couldn't figure it out using this, but luckily there was a video online that was very helpful. I will link that down below as well. And with that, I have one other thing to show you today, and it is my progress on my Dagmar zipper sweater that I'm knitting for my dad. And as you can see, I have installed the collar of it, and that's something that I wanted to chat to you about, how that was constructed and how I did that. And we are at the right length for the body to start the ribbing detail, but I'm just keeping it on hold till my dad comes to visit and I can check the length if it is right. Sorry for all the jingling noises. But I also started the sleeves, and I'm tracking the sleeves with my row counter that I have, and I'm really liking the row counter. Let's start off with the row counter, why not? If you have not heard of them, row counters are these chains. Let's wait till it is focusing. Yes. So row counters are these chains that you can put on your needles, and in between them you have these numbers. Come on, focus. Yes. And in between them there are these numbers, and on one of them you can put a clip. These ones are golden and themed with bees, so there are a lovely bee charm on the end. And here we have this honeycomb clip that I use to mark the row on which I am supposed to decrease. So once I knit a row, I switch to the next loop on the chain, and with that I can see that right now I am working on row 6, and that's a way to keep track of where I am. I am knitting this Dagmar zipper sweater in Rauma Vival yarn in the dark green colorway. Okay, so I had 1.5 ball left when I reached the point of the ribbing, and I knew that wouldn't be enough for and the ribbing and the sleeves and the ribbing on the sleeves. So I knew I needed to purchase some more yarn. And I reached out to the knitting web shop that I've purchased my yarn from. It was a Dutch web shop, and I asked them if they still had this color with the right dye lot in stock, and they did. So they messaged me back quite quickly that they had the exact dye lots in their stock, yeah, and I purchased 3 more skeins of this. I don't know if I really do need 3 skeins, but I sure knew that I didn't want to purchase it again. So I thought, let's go with 3. So right now I'm safe on the yardage. I must be, right? Now I have like 4 skeins left to knit up the sleeves and the rest. So that means that the body and the collar took me 6.5 balls of yarn. Yeah, 6.5 balls for the entire body and the collar. So I thought I'd install the collar first before knitting the sleeves, because I find that adding a collar to your sweater or your cardigan, it really makes it that you can envision the entire piece. And I think that the way Petiteknit constructed this collar is just... So the way she constructed this and this collar is just a really smart way, I guess. And I wanted to explain a little bit how it is done without giving it too much away. So for the ribbing, I as you can see, it exists from two parts. You have the folded over 1x1 rib, and you have a double knitted band to encase it with, to work around. That is soon ready for the zipper. So you start off with picking up stitches all around for the 1x1 ribbing, and you do that with 2 needles. So you hold 2 needles next to your work. 1 needle is for picking up the stitches, and next to it you hold another set of needles. I use the same needle size, but I don't think that matters all that much. So for every stitch that you pick up in your fabric, you also yarn over or cast on another stitch on the other set of needles. So you have picked up the same amount of stitches divided on 2 sets of needles. Then you have the inner set of these stitches. You leave those on hold, and you work the outer needle. You work in 1x1 ribbon. So you knit it to a certain length, and it is double the length that you can see here, because afterwards it gets folded over. But before you fold it over and connect them together, you pick up stitches for the double knitting all around this zipper opening. So you start with picking up all the stitches, and then you start knitting, double knitting from this point, as you can see, till the place where you split them. Then you work one side all the way to the top and the other side all the way to the top. After that you can fold the collar in on itself, and you use a 3 needle bind off technique over the stitches that are on the ribbing and the stitches that are on the inside that you have left on hold. And that creates a really nice finish on the collar, since every stitch that you pick up is connected at the base on the inside, just at the exact right spot. So I find it a really pretty technique. I don't think would it be possible to work that technique also in the round on a collar like this one? I don't know for sure, but I can maybe try it out. Because this way you can avoid that you attach the collar on the inside at the wrong spot. That's something that I struggled with in the beginning, that my stitches would not line up and my collar would go more diagonally, and that is not happening with this technique, of course. So I really thought it was clever and pretty. On the inside, the 3 needle bind off looks like this. So again, very ingenious, good designing on Petiteknit's part. Yes, I'm still enjoying the cable work and knitting on this sweater. And right now, yesterday I casted on the sleeve, and this is how far I got. So I hope the sleeve goes by quickly, and I hope my dad will come to visit and I can check the length of it. Because I don't want to install the ribbing and then realize that it is too short and I have to frog it and pick it up at the right spot. I don't want to do that. So ribbing is for later, and I can the same I tend to do with the sleeves as well. If the sleeves are finished before I add the ribbing, I will put those on hold. Also, some other exciting news. In the last podcast episode, I chatted to you about maybe buying a new sewing machine, and I did, and it is arriving today. So hopefully I will get a ring on the doorbell soon, and I will have my new sewing machine. I purchased the Singer sewing machine, heavy duty. When it's here, I will probably show you in the next video, and I hope to be sewing again soon. So with that, we've reached the end of the video. This was all that I've been up to this month. I hoped you liked sitting down with me and hearing me ramble about all the things that I've been making. If that is something you like, you are very welcome to stick around some more. You can do that by subscribing down below. It doesn't cost you anything, it just makes sure that my videos pop up in your feed. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!